And so the first women's singles quarter-final, Li샤오딴, Yoon Sun-ai. The players now out at the table, shaking hands with the umpire, who's just making some final checks on the rackets of the two players and spinning the coin to decide who will have choice of service or receipt of service. Spins the coin, and so Li샤오딴 of China will serve at the beginning of this quarterfinal. It's the best of 7 games. First player to win 4, and there on screen the player from China, 22 years of age, currently ranked at number 73 in the world, has been as high as 31. Was a member of the Chinese team that won the World Team Cup in 2009. Reached the quarter-final of the Pro Tour event in 2009 in China, and indeed was a semi-finalist in the Pro Tour event in Germany in 2009. She had an outstanding victory in the previous round, beating the number 1 seed, Feng Tianwei, and there is her opponent from the Republic of Korea, Yoon Sun-ai. Hasn't really been around over the last 4 years, but back in 2006 she made the last 16 of the Pro Tour event in Brazil, and in 2005 the last 16 of the Pro Tour event, the China Panasonic. As I just mentioned, Li샤오딴, superb victory against the number 1-6, came back from 9-6 down in the 7th game. And there the Republic of Korea coach watching while the players have a 2-minute practice prior to the final starting. And there's the one and only, one of the legends of the sport of table tennis, Kong Linghui, world champion 1995 in Tianjin, Olympic champion in 2000 in Sydney, one of the all-time greats. Must be quite comforting having someone of that ilk in the corner. But the first game has now started. And as you will have seen straight away, Yoon Sun-ai, a defensive player, drops away from the table, uses backspin. Of course, always looking to vary the spin. And Li샤오딴, a right-handed shake-hand grip player, topspin player. So we got the classic encounter, the topspin against the backspin. And we should be in for a very exciting quarter-final. Lee attacking into the body of Yoon. Leads now by 2 points to 1. Service changes every 2 serves. And of course each game is to 11 points. A change from the previous format of 21 points and 5 serves. And certainly the new format has created more excitement, more crisis points. Lee now with her 2 serves. Excellent retrieving by Yoon. Fast accelerating wrist coming underneath the ball, imparting a lot of backspin, the ball fizzing through the air with the excessive spin imparted by Yoon. And the topspin from Lee just caught the leading edge of her bat, flew off the end of the table. And Yoon will be very pleased with her start in this first game. These tactics look as though she's going to be topspinning a lot into the body of Yoon. and then probably spreading her out wide on both angles, but primarily into the body. But again, it was the heavy backspin from Yoon, cutting underneath the ball, often referred to as the chopping action, chopping down on the ball. Topspin from Lee just caught the top of the net. Just enough to win the point. Lee lifting what she thought was a backspin, but Yoon came across the back of the ball, didn't go underneath it, so there was very little backspin to lift. Good deception from the player from the Republic of Korea. Clenched fist, she's delighted. She should be. She leads 8-4 in the first game. But that was a good topspin. A lot of pace into the body. Lee playing that strong forehand from the backhand side of the table straight into the body of Yoon. But again, it's that heavy backspin. The ball caught the top edge of Lee's bat, flew off the end of the table, and so Yoon now has 5 game points. Again, the excessive backspin wins the point, and Yoon Sun-ai from the Republic of Korea wins the first game very convincingly, 11 points to 5. The players now have a 1-minute break to take on board advice from the coach, and there's the master himself, Kong-Ling Hui, and there's the 22-year-old Lixiaodan. And that will be a happier corner at this point in time, although they'll both appreciate there's a long way to go in this quarter-final. Best of 7 games, first player to win 4, progressing through to the semi-final stage. Kong-Ling Hui, the assistant women's coach. Shi Jihao has the privileged position of being the national coach for the Chinese women's team. Kong-Ling Hui backing him up quite superbly. China at the moment, the top 5 ranked players in the world, all from China. Such is the strength of the Chinese female players. But the break's over, the 1-minute chat, and the players now are back out at the table for the start of the second game. And it's Yoon from the Republic of Korea to serve first. And that was very consistent topspins from Lixiaodan. Interestingly enough, she's placed most of those topspins into the forehand. Perhaps the tactics will change slightly. Get out wide to the forehand of Yoon. We'll see how the rest of this game progresses. But that was an excellent service. Great deception. Lee thought the racket had come underneath the ball to impart the backspin. It hadn't. It went through the back of the ball. She lifted, and you saw the result. The ball popped up in the air and was very well dispatched by Yoon. Again, just mistiming the backhand topspin. Lee caught the top edge of the bat. It's only a fraction of a second in error. But the result is the ball flies off the edge of the table. And again, it's that heavy backspin. Superb play by the 28-year-old. And that was a world-class forehand topspin. Hallmarks of a great defensive player who can turn defence into attack. And that will certainly set the alarm bells ringing for Li샤오딴. Any loose balls into that forehand, that's what happens. Superb play. Didn't quite get into position, Yoon. Wasn't sure whether to play backhand or forehand. She took the backhand on and realised immediately she should have gone for the forehand defence. Lee having all sorts of problems against the heavy backspin. You can see there the ball dropping off the bat into the net. She's not lifting the ball sufficiently, not lifting the excessive backspin. And that's clever play by Yoon. On that occasion, she sends the service through with no backspin. Lee into the habit of lifting, lifts, and of course the ball flies off the end of the table. Lee looking to the ceiling for inspiration. Of course, it's not going to come from up there. The backspin again. This time the ball flicks the top of the net, flies off the end of the table. And Yoon leading 7-3. Lee has to come up the back of the ball. She has to lift more. At the moment, 90% of the points she's losing. She's top spinning the ball into the net. She's not lifting enough. But then Yoon very cleverly sending in the occasional ball with no spin, particularly on service. That was a great drop shot from Lee. Excellent touch, feeling in the hand just to return that ball very delicately over the net. There we see the strong topspin, then the drop shot. But still, Lee 4 points adrift. And again, familiar story, the heavy backspin, the topspin into the net. And this really is an impressive performance so far by Yoon Sun Ai. And again, that forehand topspin. And 6 game points. The previous round, she beat her teammate, Seok Ha Young, who's ranked 14 in the world. And the round before, Yu Ming Yu of Singapore, who's ranked 21 in the world. So already 2 very impressive scalps for the young lady on screen. Just trying to guide that one back with a little bit of topspin. Didn't quite get the backhand bat angle correct, but still 5 game points remain. Just composing herself. And again, that heavy back spin. This time it was the forehand chop. Very fast accelerating wrist coming underneath the ball. And as the first game, that's an 11-5 victory for Yoon. Pretty convincing so far. Half the job done, 2 games won. She needs to win 4 games to go through. But at the moment, it's very one-sided, which is very surprising to say the least. Conling Hui there clearly has his work cut out with Li샤오딴. And those two will be delighted. But I'm sure the emphasis is on keeping the focus, keep varying the spin, keep using that heavy backspin in particular, because that's the shot that's causing problems, and she's capable of imparting heavy backspin with backhand and forehand. So the players back out for the start of the third game. The 22-year-old from China to serve first. That was wonderful retrieving from Yoon. She was slightly fortunate with the net cord, but she's been very impressive so far. She got into a rhythm very early in this quarterfinal. She's made very few unforced errors. She's varying the spin. She's attacking on the forehand when she gets the opportunity. That was superb. She punches the air. The coach from the Republic of Korea certainly appreciating what's happening out on the table, and so she should. Lee topspin there, just catching a thick edge. Just flew through a fraction lower than Yoon expected. Excellent backhand topspin from Lee. Read the spin well, good use of the elbow and the wrist. Came up the back of the ball and through it. But then falls for the familiar heavy backspin. See here, she topspins, it catches the top of the net. As we see there on the replay, flies off the end of the table. An interesting point here. The umpire's given the point to Yoon. Lee thought it caught the top of the net and then the edge of the table. And immediately that's confirmed by Yoon Sun-ai. Excellent sportsmanship. Lee's problem is just picking out the defensive shot from Yoon that has no spin. She lifted there what she thought was heavy backspin. There wasn't the amount of spin on the ball she thought. So she lifts too much and the ball off the end of the table. 4 points each. That was a great smash from Lee. She worked hard. She constructed that point very well. Eventually the ball pops up a little bit too high and then she's in with the forehand smash. Excellent play by Li샤오딴. Great smash from Yoon. Certainly sense that Lee's beginning to get into a little bit of a rhythm. She's reading the spin, she's lifting the heavy backspin. So it may well be that Yoon has to look to attack when she gets the opportunity. And she did that extremely well. The ball was a little bit too high mid-table from Yoon, and Lee punished it accordingly. There we see the smash out wide to Yoon's forehand. Scores level, 6 points each. Yoon there looking to flick the ball out. First time she's attempted this shot, it would have been a winner. Just goes off the end of the table, so maybe Yoon sensing that Lee's getting into a rhythm. No, she has to break the rallies up. It was a good effort, didn't quite come off for the Republic of Korea player. This time it was the no spin, the float as it's referred to technically. Ball coming over with no backspin. And Lee lifting again what she thought was backspin. The ball flies off the end of the table. 7 points each. Heavy backspin, consistent on both wings. Yoon Sun-ai putting in a superb performance so far. That's fantastic play by Yoon Sun-ai. The retrieving at the beginning of the rally was outstanding. Got herself back into the point, and then we see this superb smash into the body of Lee. And that was a big point. Business end of the third game, 9-7 for Yoon Sun-ai. She just has not missed with that forehand topspin. Picked her spot. This time it was into the backhand, as we'll see on the replay. There it is. 3 game points. On the hit, first one I think she's missed. Players are entitled to use the towel every 6 points. 18 points have been completed, so Yoon quite at liberty to use the towel just to compose herself. 10-8, 2 game points. Fast topspin from Lee into the body of Yoon. 2 game points saved, 1 remains. Interesting tactics from Yoon, the long fast serve, the smash. Some would say brave, some would say slightly adventurous. It's now alternate serving and the first player to win 2 clear points. And that's 4 consecutive points for Li샤오딴. She now has her first game point. She was 10-7 down, and she now leads 11-10. Yoon to serve. And there it is, Li샤오딴 takes 5 consecutive points to win the third game, 12 points to 10. We could have just witnessed the turning point in this quarter-final. Yoon led 10-7. She took on a couple of attacking shots that maybe were a little bit too adventurous. Lee's having problems penetrating the defense of Yoon. But obviously now with the game under her belt, confidence is a massive part of this sport. 3-0 down would have been a mountain to climb. 2-1, then you're still right in it. So maybe she's regretting those couple of attacking shots at 10-7. Maybe it would have been better to let Li샤오딴 come at her, because at the moment Li샤오딴 is having problems generating the pace on the ball, the speed to get through the defence of Yoon. But it'll be very interesting to see the tactics in this fourth game, and it's Yoon to serve at the start. Net cord helps Lee to the first point. Very quick to acknowledge her good fortune. Caught the top edge of Lee's bat, flew off the end of the table. Heavy backspin into the backhand of Lee, the backhand topspin. Just caught the top of the net, we'll see here. Top of the net cord flies off the end of the table. Oh, that's a good smash from Li샤오딴. Read the spin, came through the back of the ball. Didn't brush it for the top spin, just hit straight through it. A lot of pace. It's always harder to return that flat smash. 2 points each. Oh, wonderful play from Yoon. Some very skillful defensive shots from close to the table. And then in with that forehand smash. There it is. Out wide to Lee's backhand. No backspin on the serve. Lee lifted, ball off the end of the table. And certainly Yoon's tactics have been to drop a little bit more into the defensive mode, vary the spin. Heavy backspin, then the no spin, but nevertheless play very consistently Excellent retrieving from Yoon. Tactics are good. Lee is a very, very talented player. Very good touch, very good feeling, good strong topspins, backhand and forehand, but she can't quite generate the pace to get the ball through the defence of Yoon. So until she does, Yoon should be very happy just to keep the ball going, vary the spin, wait for the opportunity to attack. No need to take any risks. There's the error, no spin. Lee lifting, ball flying off the end of the table. Good return of serve from Lee. The ball drifted long. She came straight in with the topspin out wide to Yoon's forehand. Won the point very quickly. Lee throwing the ball up high in the air. Heavy topspin, not a lot of pace. Yoon was equal to it. And there's the attempted drop shot. Again, it was the heavy backspin that won the day for Yoon. Forehand topspin from Lee, just catching the top of the net, ball flying off the end of the table. But still, Yoon with a 4-point lead. Oh, the superb play by both players. The smash from Yoon was clean. There we see the smash, the block was superb reactions. But it was the slow topspin from Yoon that won the point. 9-4. Again, misreading the spin. Lifting what she thought was backspin. There was no spin to lift. Ball off the end of the table. 6 game points to Yoon Sun-ai. There it is at the first time of asking. Yoon takes the 4th game. 11 points to 4. And it was interesting to see how Yoon reverted back to consistent defence, varying the spin and just waiting for the right ball to attack. The only time she's deviated from those tactics was at the business end of the 3rd game. She led 10-7. She took on a couple of attacks that previously she hadn't. She lost both the points. But then into the 4th game, tactics were superb. And certainly Li Xiaodan and Kong Ling Hui there on the screen. I've got a lot to work out, and the main problem is just penetrating the defence of Yoon. So a few smiles in the corner of the Republic of Korea, but a young lady looking very focused. She knows she has to keep her concentration, keep the focus, and she'll be looking to get off to a good start in this 5th game. First point to Lee. Oh, excellent smash Or smashes, I should say, from Lee. First one into the body, and then the second one out wide. Good angle out wide to Yoon's backhand. First smash, second smash, out on the angle. Good play. Again, the variation in spin, the deception. Good positive play by Yoon. It's almost a contradiction in terms to say a positive defensive player. But a good positive defensive player is one who's varying the spin, varying the point of contact between bat and ball. Almost the hand of a magician, very quick. And this time the backspin was quite vicious, fast accelerating racket coming underneath the ball. A pushing error from Lee, and Kong Ling Hui immediately calls timeout. He senses that this quarterfinal is drifting away from Li샤오딴. Each player is entitled to one timeout in the match. A timeout being a 1 minute break, and it's normally used for psychological reasons. If the coach, the player sense that the opponent has generated a momentum, is on a run of points, then that's the opportunity to call the timeout. See there, 30 seconds remain of this timeout. And I probably agree with Kong Ling Hui, good time. Lee won the first 2 points of this fourth game. Looked like she was off to a good start, but then what a response from Yoon. She takes the next 4 and leads by 4 points to 2 in this fifth game. Of course, now Lee has the formidable task of having to win the remaining 3 games to progress through to the semi-final. Stretching slightly, as we can see there, but she still manages to use the wrist, cut underneath the ball, impart the backspin, and force the error from Lee. Lee with that backhand topspin lifting what she thought was backspin. It wasn't. She's having all sorts of problems reading the spin. There we see she lifts the ball off the end of the table. 6 consecutive points for Yoon. Ah, that's quite brilliant, the retrieving there. The smash is always difficult to return for the defensive player. She adjusted the angle of her racket. And this time, no spin. Lee lifts, ball off the end of the table. 7 consecutive points. Yoon leads 7-2. And apart from that slight blip in the third game when she led 10-7, lost the next 5 points, this has been a superb performance by Yoon Sun-ai. And what it does do, it clearly demonstrates the strength of the Republic of Korean female squad. Yoon Sun-ai has 5 or 6 players from Korea, ranked above her on the world list. Such is the strength, and that is impressive. 10 consecutive points, 8 match points for a place in the semi-final here in Poland. One match point save, but 7 remain. An almost impossible task, but it's not over until the final point, that's for sure. Three points. It's a gutsy performance by Li샤오딴. Very good play by Li샤오딴. 4 match points saved, 4 still remain. I suspect we'll see a timeout if she loses the point, but she doesn't. That was a superb forehand smash on the diagonal, and Yoon Sun-ai, with an outstanding performance, books her place in the quarterfinals, in the semi-finals. She's already in the quarterfinals, of course. She's just won by 4 games to 1. Confirmation of the result of this quarterfinal on screen. Superb display of defensive skills from Yoon Sun-ai, and she now is through to the semi-final. And we'll just enjoy a few highlights from that exciting match. And we'll pick up commentary for the second quarter-final.